I sold one thing on eBay last month. Then I changed my business model. Now in just 1 week, I've sold 38 items, 10 of which haven't paid yet. But we're gonna pack up these 28 items and explain what I did to sell over 20% of my inventory in less than 1 week. While we pack up the first few items, we're gonna have to explain exactly what I have been doing wrong in my business. I sell mostly on Amazon because the purpose of my reselling isn't just to make as much money as possible. It's obviously to make money, but enough to live and provide me the opportunity to live how I want to, which is ultimately making videos and making money by building other businesses and getting to travel with my wife in a van that we just bought. And so since eBay isn't my biggest concern in the business, I've basically just been buying inventory, taking literal months to list it, as you've seen in one of my last videos, and then just listing it at a relatively high price, not checking on anything, even making sure that listings stay active and hoping that stuff will sell. I would do almost completely fixed price listings because I was focusing more on making as much money as I could rather than making my money back and cycling it back through inventory. That's definitely not a bad plan, but it really works well when you're actually actively managing your inventory, not doing it like I did and just hoping something sells. So if something would sell, I would make well over 100% return on investment, but almost nothing was selling, so what's the point of even doing that? I realized one of the great things about eBay is that you keep your inventory on hand. So unless your items are like this, which are Amazon returns, you can actually return your inventory back to the store if it doesn't sell, if you do it within a certain time period. That way there's essentially no risk, and it's why I decided to change my business model. So now I'm buying everything that I possibly can for eBay with the same criteria that I should try to make 100% return on investment, but I'm not listing it that high. I now list everything at a 40 to 50% return on investment auction because those only last for 7 days. Then if it doesn't sell within 1 week, I'll drop the price a little bit to where I'm still making money, but a little less, and then I'll do that 1 or 2 more times depending on how much time I have left in my return window. Then if something doesn't sell, I'll go ahead and return it to whatever store I got it from. That way there's no risk. So now if something sells and I only make a few dollars, that's great. I'm at least getting my money back plus a little profit, and if it doesn't sell, I'll just return it. But there are some other cool benefits, and as we pack up all these, I'll show you the profit that I made from all of these items, and we'll talk through some interesting sales that I have going on. So these first 2 things were Amazon returns, like I said. This was a casemate item, which I'm actually gonna be coming out with a different video on because I almost got an IP claim from them. I sold that pretty much for how much I bought it for, so I'm gonna lose a little money because of eBay fees, but not that much. This were Skull Candy headphones. It was an open box return that got sent back to me, and I just put it at that list price for an auction, and it got sold. Next, someone bought these 3 from me. All really nice soccer cleats or soccer indoor shoes, and so luckily I get to ship all of them together. I just made them look pretty, took off all the tags earlier. But honestly, what I've noticed with this business model is I feel like I'm gonna be selling a lot to other resellers. A lot of the stuff that I sold is actually selling for lower than that 40 to 50% just because I've had a lot that's been sitting in my house for 5 or 6 months. I just dropped that down to where I can at least get my money back out of it because there's no chance I can return it. And so I'm guessing this was sold to resellers and these were sold to resellers because they're all worth a lot more than what they paid me for, but I still made money on them, so I don't really care. Everybody has a different business model that they're working with. Some people are willing to wait a little bit longer for inventory to sell, or they might have a good relationship with a different online seller, and so their listings get boosted a lot more. So I don't really care if resellers buy from me because I'm still making money. And I mean, I listed it at that price, so why should I care if someone wants to buy it at that price? So I honestly didn't make too much for these 3 items, but it's still something, and because they're all shipping together and they bought them on separate listings, I'm actually able to save a little bit of money on the shipping. Looks like with this weight, if I'm able to drop an inch off one of these sides, I'm gonna save $13. So I'm gonna reopen this guy and change that. Check this out, right now it's $18, 8 pounds, 16 inches by 8 by 12. It was actually 5. And then 17 by 13 by 8. Because of that, the price went up by $6, even though it's lowered weight, because the dimensions increased. But now it's 5 pounds, and it's 14 by 13 by 9. Now it's only $11.70, so that's way better. That just increased our profit a little bit. Got these 2. Now these have been sitting in my house for ages, and the buyer actually had a note. He said, please send the shoes without the box, and the package weighs as little as possible. Thank you very much. That gives me 2 thoughts. Either 1, he wants to pay less for shipping, but he's already paid. My other thought is that he's just gonna reship them as a drop shipper. I don't really know, but I'm gonna do what he asks and ship them just in one of these bubble mailers. Not that one. Next. Oh, yeah, these have been here forever too. Oh, that's, yep. When you're frugal like me, you get pretty good at Frankensteining boxes. That being said, I'm gonna buy boxes for next time. I just need to get the ship today. So these I'm honestly pretty sad about. They're super small. They're only a size 6, so I didn't have massive expectations for them, but they're the top end Nike soccer cleats, which means that these retail for like $250 when they first came out. So I expected to sell them for a pretty decent amount of money. Luckily, I bought them for only $7.50 because they were on clearance. They only sold for $16.50, so I was still able to make some money, but I'm just sad that such a nice pair of soccer cleats went for so little. So this is something nice that eBay does for bulk shipping, is that you can combine orders. Sometimes it'll come combined, but I just click that and now I can combine these two, and then it'll be able to ship in just one box rather than the two boxes. This and this. Use this, guys, just a little bit of extra padding since I broke through it. Oh, nice. The MLS jersey, poly bagged it up. Now we're just gonna throw it in a bubble mailer. 7 ounces, just like I suspected. Probably because I waited. Spikes. Oh, they're out of California, no wonder it's so expensive. These are getting shipped internationally, and normally the international shipping will be handled by the Global Shipping Program, but these ones are not. If it is handled by the Global Shipping Program, this will be sent to Kentucky, but it looks like I'm shipping this directly to the customer, and so I'm gonna have to complete a customs form. Let's pack it up first and then I'll do that. You see the error over here, it just says check the customs form. So I'll open the customs form. It's pretty simple information, honestly. Asking what's in there, it's just the item that I have. There's one, $40 USD, because that's what they paid. 2 pounds. I don't know what the tariff code is, so I'm not gonna put it in. It's merchandise. I just say that I read the prohibitions and restrictions for USPS or eBay and confirm the information is accurate, and then apply it, and now on to the next, which I believe is another reseller. So next items are these two, which are both size 12, which means that he might be getting them for himself. But I actually clicked on the page, and I'm not gonna click on it here because it's his information, and it looks like it's a page of someone who sells lacrosse equipment in the UK. We'll run through a couple more of these in a time lapse just to speed this up. And by a couple more, I mean literally all of them. We'll talk about this sale in a second along with the totals for everything, but if you look at the ROIs on a lot of these, they're less than I would like to be, but at least all of them are positive, and I'd rather at least get my money out of a bad deal than wait and hope for something that's unlikely to come. A lot of these are cleats that I got a little over emotional on, just like these, the ones before, and any of them that say Elite on them. I think that they should easily sell for over $100. Unfortunately, the market is the market, and I can't force anyone to buy something, so moving forward, I'm trying to not be as emotional in my buying and in my pricing, so hopefully you can learn from my pain. These triple jump shoes that are upcoming here, I've been seeing a lot of Burlingtons, but none of them have the spikes. If you've ever sold track spikes without the spikes, these are the shoes I'm talking about, I would love to hear about it in the comments. I'm just kind of too scared to. Here's my favorite find over the past few months because it's such a high value item that's a little bit older, but now we just have a couple more steps to go until we're done. And now remember why I didn't like doing eBay stuff as much. What a freaking mess. But we got all of that ready to go, except for the label part. So let's get that done. One thing that stinks about eBay's bulk shipping is it doesn't save anything. So that's why I write everything on the boxes, the name, the pounds, and then it always makes you go back and recombine orders, which is annoying. $189.65, confirm and pay. This is by far the most I've ever shipped. All right, print labels. That's not everything that we need to ship. It didn't include 4 of the items. I don't know exactly why, but we'll print those ones out. Wow, did my printer want to be stupid today? That's okay. We'll label everything up. It's almost 5 o'clock, so we're gonna have to get over to USPS really soon. Awesome, so everything has been labeled up. We'll go over profit numbers in a second, but one thing not to forget is to take off with a Sharpie all of the extra barcodes that are on the bottom of everything. Didn't realize we were doing it wrong. He told us to drop it off in the other thing next time. That's good to know. I'm so glad we were actually able to get to the post office before they closed. But now let's take a look at my trusty spreadsheet and go over our profit as a total, as well as a couple anomalies that I want to point out that are pretty interesting. Out of these 10 that I have awaiting payment, a couple of them actually sold for more than I would have listed them as a fixed price listing. So that's one of the benefits of this. If I price them at something that's profitable, but also can induce a bunch of different bids, I might be able to sell it for more. Okay, I know this is a lot of information, but I think there's a couple of important things to talk about and go over even as we get to the totals. I bolded a couple different items that I think are really important to look at. The first two are these ones. As you can see, they have negative profit. I lost $7 on one and $19 on the other one. But that's okay because especially with this eBay stuff that's just dead stock, just kind of sitting in my house for the last bunch of months, or stuff that's been returned from Amazon that I can't return to the store, I want to at least get some cash flow back out of it. So instead of looking at the profit numbers, and I just realized that one of those was wrong, that we lost 10% or 70% on these items, looking at the revenue and seeing that we got back $955 and we got back $747 is way more important to me. Because instead of just using that inventory for myself or donating it, I'm going to be able to take that $9 and $7 and eventually by flipping it a couple more times, make back enough to where I'm back up to even, and then potentially even making profit on top of that as we continue reselling over the long term. The other thing that's important is something that I totally messed up on. It's the white pair of cleats that I sent out, and it sold for $36 at auction, which is great because I thought I would be making about 40%, but it turns out I'm only making 4%. That's because I thought I had listed it as shipping paid by the buyer. So as I relist all of my auctions that have expired, I'm gonna double check and make sure that I have them having the correct shipping information because I could have very easily lost money on this just because I was being dumb. But let's move over to the totals over here. And we have the buy cost, cash flow, profit, and return on investment. I was very pleasantly surprised to see that I have over 50% return on investment on all this stuff. Most of the stuff, everything that has a 3 over here, was just dead stock for me and just sitting in my apartment for up to 5 or 6 months in some cases. The total that I spent on all these items was $548.74. The cash flow, which is the most important number to me, is the $838.48, and the profit is $289.74. Cash flow is most important to me right now because I'm trying to get rid of dead stock. With all the new stuff that I'm listing onto eBay with the intention of returning it if it doesn't sell, profit's gonna be more important. Right now, I'm just trying to get any money back from my laziness and not keeping it listed or current or at good prices. Eventually, I might still try to go and exchange some stuff, but I'm not too optimistic that that will happen based on a couple conversations I've had with people. The return on investment was still 52.8%, which is pretty good. But we are still shooting for that 100%, and we do that all the time while I go out sourcing and you guys come along with me. And so you can watch those videos right over here. If you wanna see the last video where I talked about creating this eBay business model and actually relisted everything, you can watch that video right here. And if you're interested in how I find shoes that will be profitable to resell, you can watch that video right down here. If you're new to the channel, it'd be great if you subscribe, but whether you're new or not, I hope you stay smart.